So when I was younger, when I was in secondary school, so I think I was probably 16 or 17. But I know that it was my last year, so I probably was 17. But anyway, I was in maths class. And okay, so where I was sitting down, I sat at the second to last desk, and my two other friends, they sat behind me, right? So while Sue was teaching in class, while he was showing us stuff on the board, my two friends, they were laughing, and they were talking about the history teacher. But I wasn't involved with that. I was actually trying to pay attention because maths is something that I'm not really good at. So I was trying to see if I could understand what Sir is teaching. So they were talking about the history teacher. I can't remember what they were saying exactly, but they were talking about her. And it was to the point where Sir sat down, and I guess he heard them. He heard them talking about her, and he probably thought that I was involved or because I was sitting there. But that was my original seat. I would always sit there. That was my seat no matter what. I wasn't moving for anything. So after lunch we had history, and when the bell rang, or when the bell rang or whatever, Miss came up to class, and she was kind of angry, but I didn't know why. So she came and told us that we're gonna have class outside, but we're gonna be in a different part of the school. So we was like, okay. So we took our bags from class and we went to meet her at the place where she went to have class. And where she had class, there were students outside, but they had a class too, but they wasn't too far from us. So we sat down there, and Miss was just angry. She was just really angry, and she was talking about there are some students in class that don't like her, and they were talking about her and all of that. I was confused, and I was wondering who. I was wondering who. So eventually, Miss told me to stand up, and she told one of my friends, the friend that one of them that was sitting behind me was a girl. She told her to stand up too. Now, the reason why I said that she thought that she was saying that we were talking about her and I was confused is because the reason why I was confused is because I wasn't talking about her. And when she mentioned who was talking about her, I wasn't thinking about my two friends in the back. I wasn't thinking about them at the time. So when she told me to stand up, and she told her to stand up, that's when it made me think about my friend and the other friend. So I was trying to tell her that I wasn't saying anything about her, but she didn't want to hear it. She didn't want to hear it at all. So she was shouting at the both of us, right? She was shouting at the both of us, and it was embarrassing because there was another class outside too. But then she looked at me, and I would never forget these words. She told me one of the most hurtful things that no, like a teacher has never told me this. She was the only one that told me this, and the only teacher that told me these hurtful words. She told me that I am a waste of human existence. She told me that in my eyes. And when she told me that, I remember the place just got really quiet. Like, there was just silence after she told me that. And I just wanted to cry. My eyes, I remember my eyes, they were filled with water. I just wanted to cry because I haven't done anything, and you just want to tell me that hurtful thing. She didn't even tell the girl that, she told me that. And I could never forget that. I could never forget how I felt. I could never forget those words. When I went home that day, I remember I cried so much. I told myself that even though it hurts right now, I am not going to let this get to me. I told my family they wanted to go in school for the teacher, but I told them no, don't do it. But that was the most hurtful thing ever. And I'm so glad that I didn't let it get to me, because if I did, if I believed those words, I would not be I would probably not be here right now. Because in those days I wasn't in a good place mentally, and that just made me feel worse. But I'm so glad that I chose to not let it get to me, even though it hurts so much. And that same teacher, I used to always feel like she didn't like me, and that was just the cherry on top. Like, and I remember I was telling myself that I will prove to her that I'm not a waste of human energy. I will prove to her, I will prove it to her. I was telling myself that over and over and over. And even though I didn't pass history, I still kept telling myself that one day I will prove to her that I'm not a waste of human existence. One day I will prove it, I will prove it, I will prove it. Because I am really not a waste of human existence. That motivated me, and it still motivates me today when I think about my school days. It still motivates me in some way. But again, I am just really happy, and I am really proud of my younger self for making that decision to not let it get to me. Because if it did, I might not have been here today, or I might have been here, but I would have been, I probably wouldn't have been doing good with my life. So I'm just really glad that I made that decision.